Hello summoners and welcome back to another ProGuides OP Korean builds video. My name is Kellen and today I'll be going over all of the latest and most OP builds that have been rising in popularity in Korean Challenger. A bunch of you guys have been asking for our personal recommendations on this topic for quite some time, and luckily for you, we have a ton of connections with Korean challengers, so we can keep you updated on that. On top of that, there have been some major balance changes which have shaken up the ladder over in Korea, so we can't wait to share what we have in store. But before we get started, make sure to go to ProGuides.com if you want to see massive improvements to your rank right now. With our Pro Pass, you get exclusive Pro Guides made by your favorite pro players for all of our games. We also have a feature called InstaPro, which provides unlimited 24/7 on-demand coaching from the best of the best. Over 100,000 gamers have used InstaPro today and ranked up significantly. So trust me, don't miss out on this and use the link below right now to rank up. Your friends are going to be scratching their heads, wondering how you managed to get so good at the game in such a short period of time. Alright, let's jump into the OP Korean builds. The first build we have for the top lane is solo lane Tristana. Now, you may have seen this in the LCS or LEC, but the Koreans were the first to innovate Tristana top, and Faker has played it pretty often before it even really got popular. Tristana received a couple of small buffs in the past few patches, which increased her burst by a lot, actually. As Tristana top, you want to look to constantly hard push your lane while bullying out the enemy laner. Then you can look to go for all-ins whenever they're low. For runes, you'll want Press the Attack, Triumph, Alacrity, Coup de Grace, followed by a Resolve secondary for Demolish and Bone Plating. For items, you'll go the standard Tristana build with IE into Berserkers, Blade of the Ruin King, Rapid Fire Cannon, Phantom Dancer, and then top it all off with a Last Whisper. Next up for the top lane, we have a build for Kennen. Kennen is actually one of Korea's favorite top laners and has a very high presence during the pick and ban phase. Not only does he do a ton of damage, but he's also very versatile when it comes to item paths, runes, and playstyle. Although Kennen usually has two builds which consists of AP or on hit, there's recently been a third build which focuses a bit more on utility. Now, the origin story of this build is pretty funny. As most of you know, there's currently a bug which defaults your rune page back to Glacial Augment, and it happened to somebody in Korea, so he was forced to play Glacial Augment Kennen. Funny enough though, halfway through the game, he kinda realized that Glacial Augment isn't actually so bad. You already build active items like Hextech Protobelt or Gunblade, and then you just follow it up with Twin Shadows to slow them down while you charge at them with your Lightning Rush. For runes, you'll go Glacial Augment, Perfect Timing, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight, followed by the Resolve Tree secondary for Overgrowth and Second Wind. For items, you want Gunblade, Into Sork Shoes, Twin Shadows, Zanya's, Void Staff, and Deathcap. Lastly, for top lane, we have a build for Shyvana. Shyvana top is actually one of the more underrated champions in the game right now. And no, we're not talking about the full AP version either, we're talking about Bruiser Shyvana. Once you pick up one or two items as her, you can pretty much 1v1 kill anybody in the top lane, and trust me, this is really strong for solo queue. For your runes, you'll want Conqueror, Triumph, Tenacity, Coup de Grace, followed by Resolve secondary for Bone Plating and Demolish once again. As for your items, you'll rush a Spear of Sojin, followed by Ninja Tabby, Titanic Hydra, and then go full tank items like Visage, Randuin's, and Thornmail. Try this out. Seriously, it's a lot better than you think, and it'll probably net you some free LP you didn't expect. Alright, moving on to the jungle role. The first jungle build we have is for Poppy. Poppy received a ton of buffs to her W recently, which has turned her into a ganking machine. The movement speed on this ability got increased from 30 to 35%, then from 35% to 40% this patch, making it an overall buff of 10%. This makes Poppy's gank so much easier, and Korean challenger junglers are abusing the heck out of her right now to climb the ladder. She can farm pretty easily, gank very well, and actually duel the opposing jungler. She can be used as a counterpick to a majority of champions in the meta. For runes, you'll want Predator, Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collection, and Relentless Hunter. For secondary, you'll go Sorcery for Celerity and Water Walking. For the items, you'll go full on tank. Cinderhulk into Tabbies, into Adaptive Helm, Gargoyle Stoneplate, Randuin's, and Spirit Visage. The second jungle build is for Season 6 favorite, Graves. Now, Graves received a small buff to his kit this patch, which increased the amount of armor that he gets from his E Quick Draw. Although this doesn't really help him during his camp clearing, it does help him versus the enemy jungler during those long scuttle crab fights. Junglers in Korea right now are jumping back onto the Graves hype train, but he's still a niche pick in the jungle. For your runes, you'll want the standard path with Fleet Footwork, Triumph, Legend Tenacity, and Coup de Grace, followed by Domination Secondary for Relentless Hunter and Sudden Impact. For items, there are a ton of variety for Graves, but most people have been finding success with Warrior into Ninja Tabbies, Youmuu's, Phantom Dancer, IE, and Essence Reaver, actually opting into a pretty heavy crit build, not going into the old build which was like Black Cleaver and Death's Dance. Alright, let's run down mid. For mid lane, let's start with a familiar face in Tristana. It should come as no surprise to see that Trist is mentioned both in our mid and top lane for this patch. Her win rate and play rate have gone up significantly this patch due to players catching on to her strength. Her burst combined with her wave clear, mobility, and ability to take plates with ease makes her the perfect mid laner for 915. Although playing Tristana mid seems somewhat troll, it really isn't. Pro players have been using this solo lane Trist in competitive matches, which goes to show just how powerful this can be. You'll want the exact same runes for top lane Trist, which are Press the Attack, Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace, followed by Resolve Secondary for Demolish and Bone Plating. For items, you'll go the standard Tristana build with Infinity Edge, Berserker Greaves, Blade of the Ruined King, Rapid Fire Cannon, Phantom Dancer, and top it all off with a Last Whisper. Moving on, for our second build for mid lane, we have Quinn. Now, this might sound a little bit strange, but we've found a guy in Korea who's been playing Quinn mid into burst-heavy champions like Zed or Syndra. Our analysts were super confused as to how this person could consistently beat these champions who traditionally destroy Quinn in the mid lane, until we figured out what his rune page was. Aftershock Quinn is his hidden go-to counter for beating matchups like this and catching your opponents off guard. For runes, you'll take Aftershock, Demolish, Bone Plating, Overgrowth, followed by Domination Secondary for Ghost Poro and Sudden Impact. For your items, you'll rush Duskblade, Phantom Dancer, Ninja Tabbies, Black Cleaver, Infinity Edge, and Guardian Angel. Quinn is a champion we haven't seen at all recently, so this is very surprising to me to see this, and I'm very interested in how good this might be. I'll have to try this one out myself. Time to move on to the bottom lane now. This time we have two unique picks for AD carries who aren't even your traditional marksmen. Starting off with the new champion, Qiyana. If you didn't know already, Season 9 has come with a ton of unique picks for the bot lane such as Sona, Victor, Vladimir, Syndra, Yasuo, and now Qiyana can be added to that list. Players have realized just how easy it is to get off a good ultimate with Qiyana in the bottom lane due to the amount of players hugging walls and hugging the bushes. On top of that, Qiyana works similarly to Yasuo. Instead of a wind wall, you have an extra couple of seconds of stealth. Although Qiyana did receive a small few nerfs this patch, she's still extremely strong and is one of the best champions in the game right now. Her bursts combined with her mobility and utility are almost unrivaled at the moment, so we highly recommend you pick her up. For runes, you'll take the standard Electrocute, Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collection, and Ravenous Hunter, followed up by Precision for Triumph and Coup de Grace. For items, you'll want Duskblade, Tabbies, Youmuu's, Black Cleaver, Last Whisper, and top it all off with a GA last item. Next up in the bottom lane, we have the one and only Swain. So in 914, Swain received a mini gameplay rework which overall buffed his kit by a little bit. In 915 though, Swain received another buff to its Q, which had its range increased by a sizable amount actually. One of Swain's bottom lane weaknesses before this patch is that it was too hard for him to farm against long-range champions like Caitlyn, where he had to overextend for the CS. Every time he tried to get a creep, Caitlyn could auto him from a safe distance and he would be forced to play under tower. In this patch, however, Swain can farm a lot more safely due to the range increase on his Q, and Korean players have been playing him a lot more often in the bottom lane. The thing is, he synergizes very well with supports who have heavy CC, such as Pyke, Thresh, Blitzcrank, Morgana, and so many others. It makes him the perfect duo laner in the bottom lane due to his passive allowing an extra pull, that way you can combo the CC. For runes, you'll want Phase Rush, Nimbus Cloak, Transcendence, and Gathering Storm, followed by Inspiration Secondary for perfect timing and biscuits. As for items, Rod of Ages, Sork Shoes, Zanyas, Morellos, Leandries, and then a Death Cap is going to be your go-to OP build. Alright, making our way downtown to supports to finish off here. First up, we have Volibear. Now, we mentioned Volibear before in a support list for OP Korean builds, but this time we have a different playstyle for him. Volibear received a ton of buffs in the past couple of patches, and they've stacked up to make him an OP support pick, not trolling whatsoever. Not only is he not killable, but he's great at engaging and does a ton of damage. It's surprising to see a champion who was neglected for so long become so good within a matter of a couple of weeks. The page is Aftershock with Font of Life, Second Wind, and Unflinching, followed by Inspiration Second for Hex Flash and Minion Dematerializer. In terms of items, you'll want a Remnant of the Aspect, Righteous Glory, Tabbies, Spirit Visage, Warmogs, and Gargoyle Stoneplate. You're basically looking to be an unkillable meat shield that can soak up every piece of damage that the enemy throws at you. A really interesting adaptation is a rune that people don't really take, which is Font of Life. Once you're so tanky on Volibear and when you have your Aftershock saving you all the time, you actually get a lot of Font of Life procs, allowing you to heal your team. The last and final pick for our supports is Poppy. Once again, we see Poppy on our list, except this time it's as a support. Much like Volibear, Poppy received a ton of big buffs in the past couple of patches, and she's now become a dominant counterpick in the bottom lane. She can demolish champions like Gragas, Camille, Nautilus, and so many others just because of one ability, which is her W. Steadfast Presence now grounds and slows enemies that she stops mid-dash, and it also grants her a 40% movement speed bonus, which is insane. Not only can she duel the enemy bot lane extremely well, but she's a roaming machine who can gank the mid lane with ease. For runes, you'll want Aftershock, Demolish, Bone Plating, and Unflinching, followed by Precision Secondary for Tenacity and Triumph. Finally, for items, you'll rush a Remnant of the Aspect, Zeke's, Mobility Boots, Gargoyle Stoneplate, Knight's Vow, and an Adaptive Helm. Alright, that's going to be it for our Korean OP builds video for this patch. We'd love to hear your suggestions on how to make these videos better, so if you have something to add, then please comment down below. If you enjoyed watching this video, then please hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this in the future. Also, make sure to check out ProGuides.com for guides and videos that were made by your favorite pro players, such as Hai, Bunny Fufu, and Mike Young. We're going to start uploading a lot more content within the coming weeks, so make sure you hit that bell icon to be notified of every upload. That's all for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the Rift.